climb on top.
It smells like hemlock.
We just got a huge wood delivery. This is all the wood that's gonna go on the outside of this big barn. It's a 40 by 60 by 16 feet tall barn. And yeah, this is all the hemlock siding. So these boards are 12-inch wide, and we have 4-inch wide battens. So yeah, now it's just gotta dry. Man, and it took like 4 hours to get it all in here. Let me get a moisture meter, actually. I'll be right back. Okay, let's see what the Dr. Meter says. This is a moisture meter. It basically has these 2 prongs. Shut up. And what it does is it measures the electrical current, and the more water there's in there, the easier it is for the electrical current to go from one to the other. And that's how it supposedly knows.
And we want to be able to check the moisture of this because we want to stain it, and you should stain it when there's lack of moisture in it.
So this says it has, and it's beeping, this has 32% moisture in it, according to this thing. So
that's not bad.
That's not bad, but it's definitely too wet to stain, because I think for staining and painting, it needs to be at least like 15 or so. I don't know, don't quote me on that.
So these boards are pretty much already stickered, which means that you leave an air gap in between. But we're going to re-sticker them because not all of them, as you can see.
Yeah, I'd say it's 32. So yeah, the stickering is important because then it can dry really easily. What we learned from the last time is that it's really important for these stickers to line up, because otherwise when it starts to dry, this starts to just bend. You can already kind of see that happening.
Yeah.
Like even this board, you know, if we just let it like that, it's just gonna end up. And you might be able to, you know, when you install it, you might be able to like bend it back, but it's just.
It's better to have a straight board.
It's just better to spend a couple hours to just restack this. And if you do it with 2 people, you know, you just kind of symmetrically like stack it, then it should work. But the challenge with this is that these boards are so long. Like, the idea is to kind of stack them here, take them from here, stack them here, let it all dry, and then we'll stain it right here, maybe with like a sprayer, and then we'll stack it back over there. So we just kind of like go back and forth until it's ready to go up.
And we were really lucky because one of our friends, Dean, actually turned us on to this gentleman who invested in a planer.
Let me show you what the difference is. So actually here we have a board of hemlock. Well, this side is planed. So it went through a planer. But on this side, you can see the rough sawn. So yeah, a friend of ours had a neighbor who just started his sawmill business. So we were happy to be able to support a local business here that's just getting started. And the way he cuts is he has a bandsaw instead of like a saw that's a giant circular saw. And you get a different looking cut. So what you can see here is that, I'm not sure if you could see it on the camera, but there's a lot of arcs in here. This is a board that was cut by a circular saw. This board was cut with the bandsaw. And you get a much more continuous rough cut with that.
And it's like parallel to one another. It
Yeah,
doesn't
and the
have that
only thing that
circular.
you might see, which might turn you off, is that sometimes if one of the tooth is like, maybe it hit like a piece of sand or rock that was on the wood, one of the tooth in the blade could like go off course, and it could leave these like streaks. You can kind of see it here.
Right.
You know, you see these lines. Might find another close-up shot of that somewhere else, but
I think
that's
you
the
can
only.
see it here, like right here.
Yeah, you can kind of tell. Well, this is from the sticker, so this is a stain from a sticker. So you could see that little sticker's
I see.
like laid across here, so that's why that's stained. Now we have to let this dry for a couple months. It probably takes a good 3 to 4 months to dry to the point where we can stain it. And then once we have that, then you know, it's gonna be a lot of work staining it. But then once that's all done, then we can put it up on the building, and then it will be out of our way again. And then I built this too, because at some point we had so much different lumber in here that I wanted to just have like a good sorting place. So the way I built this is I basically have this massive core here that has 2 sheets of plywood that are sandwiching a bunch of 2x6s. So the 2x6s, there's little offcuts of 2x6 in between. And then these are just 2x4s that are pushed through a hole. So, and it makes this really strong connection. And if I want to, I can actually take these 2x4s out. So if I want to have a shelf that is much taller than 1 foot, I could just knock this one out. It's pressure fitted in there, but I can get a sledgehammer and knock it out. So you could rearrange it. If one of them starts to bend, you could just swap it around. Yeah, it's pretty strong. Like there's a lot of wood on here.
Whoops. Just knocked out the rest of it on the other side.
Well, yeah, some of it got knocked. When we put all the wood in here, some of it got knocked off, but we had to push some of it in.
Well, a lot of this is just the offcuts that we have.
Yeah, so what we like to do is, I don't like to see anything go to waste. So this is all some of the trim that we have in the house that we had to remove for the windows. These are some of our old siding boards that were cedar.
Yeah, and you could just plane those.
God, don't move. So yeah, check this out.
Oh, this one's pretty, but it's about to fall. So I think.
Well, this is something else. So this is what's called shake in hemlock. So where the growth rings start to separate. So this happened to this board, and usually when you have shake in a hemlock board, people are like, throw it out because it's useless. You can't use it. And I looked at it, it's like, this is actually a really beautiful shape.
Yeah, it is.
So instead of throwing it out, I was thinking we could probably use it in an area where you're looking for this kind of interesting shape. Say a birdhouse or whatever.
Yeah.
You could kind of use this in some way. So I always like to think about how to, but this is what happens, see?
Yeah.
It just goes across the whole board and it's useless at some point. So yeah, I like to find a way to reuse that, so I kept a piece. And then this is, this is a good example of our old siding. Jeez, this thing will fall over. So yeah, look how beat up it is. We had to replace this because obviously this is not paintable. It's all cracked and everything. But if you run it through the planer, oh my God, stop falling apart. If you run it through the planer,
looks like a brand new bird.
looks like a brand new board.
Bud.
So I'm hoping, I can cut the tongue and groove off of this. So I'm hoping that with a little bit of work, what I can get like 4-inch, half-inch thick pieces of cedar out of this.
Gorgeous.
That, it would cost a lot of money if you wanted to buy that new. And why would you throw this away if it still has that good wood on the inside?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping to achieve with that. So yeah, all kinds of offcuts. Those are all 2x4s that were saved from, demolition. So we take apart a wall in the house, and then we just rescue all the wood. It takes me a couple hours to just de-nail everything. And, there's still some nails in here, but I just know not to use this wood for anything else than just like building rough structures.
Well, you built this rough structure with
look how much 2x4s I used here. This is all reclaimed 2x4s. So it's a perfect use case for it. And even all these like here, all these little 2x6 pieces, all this little stuff, like what are you gonna do with it? But, you know, I made this whole drying rack. Like part of the structure of this drying rack is really because of these 2x6s. So the way it goes is like, you got this long strip of plywood, and then you just put all these 2x6s in, sandwich them in there, and then you get the 2x4, you push that in there, and now this is like somewhat secure. And that gives a good structure to it without having too many diagonals, right? Because if I had to take like a beam like this and add strength to the structure, I would like put a diagonal in and it would add a lot more strength, but that would limit the amount of wood you can store. You can't have it stick out. So these are 4 feet apart, and it's basically 12 feet long, the whole thing. And the reason for that is because then I could still store a 16-foot board, and I can also use these bays to store smaller wood like this. So you can have 2 bays like this. So yeah. And then over there we have plywood underneath the stairs. So all that could be like standing straight up. And then, whoa, it's a little crowded here. But yeah, I made these, you know, it was really easy to make a structure here because the stairs was already there. I could just take these 2x4s, nail them to the stairs, and that would give a good support. And they're slightly angled so that they kind of lean. And then if you need that sheet there in the middle, you can just, like an album, like album covers back in the day, you could just move them over, grab that one sheet, and then it doesn't take up any space. So this is great. And then we got a bunch of stickers. So these are the things we use to paint or stain boards. Say you're painting this, so you let this dry like that, but then you want to continue on. So what you do is you put another sticker on top, and now there's like an airspace between here, so that you can actually, you don't get that mark, but you could still stack it. And this is much, I think this is much easier than a drying rack, because this you can just use as stickers. You could build it up somewhere as tall as you want, in any kind of shape you want. So, and it's really easy to make, just offcuts of 2x4s. So again, all the tiny scrap pieces that you have, like when you're done with the project, you have like all kinds of little things like this with holes in it and whatever. You're like, what am I gonna do with it? Well, just use it, get a bunch of furring strips, 2 drywall screws. Drywall screws are also rescued from an old project. Basically what I do, here I can show you. So I just took all these 2x4s and I de-nailed them, and there was drywall attached to the 2x4s. So there's a lot of these screws that are still perfectly straight. They're all the same length. Perfect. Why would you throw those away? And why would you leave them in the wood when there's a chance that you could hit it with a saw? So I like to just like separate all these materials and then value them like we have them. I can reuse these somewhere. Maybe not in like a finished project, but for something like this, that's gonna give us years of just being able to stain stuff with it. You know, it's gonna be really helpful. So yeah, a little peek into our lumber storage here.
And anybody who comes and like, you know, Dean who built the tiny house here, if that's something that they need to do, they could reuse that material that we already have here.
Yeah, this is not just so we can use it. Anyone can come here and use it.